What's up, guys? Last week, NBA's just been going off. So many things going on with Steph Curry, James Harden, Anthony Davis scoring 43. It's
Shootout
insane.
in the West every night.
It seems like that, right? The Western Conference, like
It's all about the West.
Like
All
the-
the marquee games of the Western Conference. So much NBA drama. So many superstars making big names, big headlines.
and the key guy right now is James Harden.
Your guy? Your guy?
He's still my guy, but not officially in terms of the MVP. He had 46 points against the Los Angeles Clippers, and then he had 43 with 13 assists against Sacramento. And this is a really interesting stat. He had a total of 47 free throws for the last 3 games.
Wait,
so
how many?
47. Yeah, in 3 games. So the question is James Harden back in business?
He's 100% back in business. But before we get into this, I gotta ask you, MF. You had your MVP's prediction. You chose James Harden to start with. You reserved the right to change, and you changed it to Westbrook. How do you feel about James Harden's performance, and do you regret your decision?
I 100% do not regret my decision. And the reason why is because it had nothing to do with James Harden at first. The reason why I changed it. It had everything to do with Russell Westbrook. I'm not surprised whatsoever that James Harden is doing this. But to me, the biggest thing that's going on right now is the free throws. If you actually watch the games lately, he's getting a lot of the calls that he wasn't getting in the first few games, which I think is hysterical. It's just so funny. Even at the end when he was against the Clippers, that last possession that gave them the 2-point lead, like he wasn't getting those calls, then all of a sudden he is. And because of that, he's dropping all these 46, 43.
Well, he got his shooting back too, right?
Yeah.
His 3-point percentage was abysmal the first 2-3 games.
Yeah, but it also helps that, he's getting those calls that he wasn't. It's in his head. It gets into his mindset. He has a total, again, I'm going to repeat it, 47 free throws. Think about that.
In 2 games.
In the last 3 games.
In the last 3 games, 47.
Yeah. People don't even get that across,
Yeah, but he's been doing this for years, right? We shouldn't be surprised he's at 47. I'm not surprised.
But that's more than his average last year. I think it was 9.8 around.
Yeah.
This is
true.
15 a game.
15 a game.
It is kind of overdue, though, because he hasn't been getting the calls at first. And it also, when he doesn't make shots, I think the refs don't give him the calls as much. Like if he's scoring buckets,
like momentum based, right?
Yeah, it's weird, really weird how that works. But as for the question, is James Harden back in his MVP form? Yeah, absolutely he is. And all it took was a couple games, but he's back, and I don't regret changing my MVP pick one bit. I always knew he had this potential, but
that is why you chose him in the first place.
That is why I chose him in the first place. But because Westbrook's numbers are staggering, especially his assists lately, if you guys noticed, I'm sticking with Westbrook.
Still Westbrook?
Yep.
Okay. So how much of the calls that James Harden is getting is bogus, do you think? So say he averages about 15 a game, 15 times at the line. If you were the ref, how many times would you call it? I know this is kind of hard to call because it's game-to-game basis, but, in general, do you think, how inflated do you think his free throw attempts are?
The problem is that if they were to call it the same way every game, I think he would get a lot of calls, but then sometimes they'll call the ones that are not really ticky-tack fouls.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they won't. They'll be like, oh, no, it's got to be more contact than that. It's just so random. It's like something that you can't even predict what's going to happen. So as for how much of them are not really, I think majority of them are actually fouls.
Yeah.
But I think, it's...
So is it a problem with how the rule is set up, where a lot of these fouls he gets via initiating the contact?
Yeah.
And he kind of gets hacked, and he does his patented snap his head back, so it looks like it was more serious than it was. It's he's kind of flopping without flopping. Mm-hmm. It's 50-50. It's is there a problem with the rule, or is he just a great player and he's exploiting defensive defensive weaknesses and just getting to the line, slowing the game down?
I definitely think a big part of it is because the rules are kind of made in a way that's not really clear. A lot of the times they're initiating the contact, the guy on offense, and they're just getting the calls. But the biggest thing to me is the power that the refs have. They can choose to just ignore a play at the end of a game just because it's the end of the game. They don't want to be the people who decide the game. But at the beginning, it's a foul. Everyone knows for the first 3 quarters that should be a foul, right? Then at the end, let's say they don't call it, or they do it the other way around. They want the certain team to win, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, we'll call that foul, even though it was like nothing.
But then oftentimes refs don't call a lot of other things because they're scared. They swallow up the whistle.
Yeah.
Like rookie refs and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there just needs to be more consistency. But in terms of his free throw, I think it's fine, right? I think the defense has to adjust to, the way he's attacking. They know who James Harden is. He's been doing this, making a living off the line for years, and nobody's figured out a way to stop it yet. So I think it's more about teams adapting, than refs having a big influence.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is also about the Houston Rockets. Not only is Harden scoring all these points, getting to the free throw line, making a huge impact, they're winning games. Because they started off pretty slow, but they're actually winning a lot of games now, which is good to see. In LA and Sacramento, he put together like huge performances, but the most important thing is he got the win. Anthony Davis is scoring 43 points, but in a losing effort.
Yeah, but let's be honest, Anthony Davis doesn't have as much help as James Harden.
He does.
I mean, in that Clippers game, Dwight had a 20-20 game.
Yeah.
He had 20-20. Nobody's really talking about it, but he had a big impact. Altering shots, being a big defensive presence. He put down 20 boards and 20 points.
He did, yeah. I'd say he's definitely back into form, and I'm really excited to see what else he can do.
So much drama in the West.
Yeah, I know. So the next topic we're going to talk about is the people who are leading the Western Conference and the entire NBA. The Golden State Warriors. They started off, they're at 7-0 right now, led by, of course, Steph Curry, who's pretty much on a tear lately. But the question that I want to pose, can they beat the 72-10 Chicago Bulls world record, most wins in a season?
I don't think so. I don't buy it. I don't think they can beat the 72-10 record. They are on a tear lately, but I know the game against the Grizzlies was a complete blowout by 50, but if you paid attention to the first and second quarter, they really showed a good blueprint on how to slow Curry down a little bit. They're playing great defense on him, doubling down, forcing him out of the ball, getting in his face, settling for him to do layups and twos, just, pushing him out of the three-point line. And then, the whole Warriors, talent overtook the game and just blew the game out by 50. But if you were watching that game, I think you'd agree that they did a great job guarding Curry for the first 2 quarters, regardless of the outcome. And, because of that, I think teams have the potential to, because he's on a tear right now, they have the potential to slow him down. And I think, the way he's going, his offense is doing so well, that, a person known for his defense is going to get fed up and he's going to deck him one time. Kind of like Robert Horry to Steve Nash back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as for this question, can they beat the 72-10 Chicago Bulls? Not only do I think they can beat that, they will beat it this year. This year they're going to break the world record of the 72-10 Chicago Bulls. If you notice the last game, Steph Curry was 2 for 10 shooting from 3-point range, and he had a total of 8 for 18 field goals with 6 turnovers. And they beat the Sacramento Kings easily. They didn't have DeMarcus Cousins is one thing, but still, Rajon Rondo had a triple-double. Gay and Bellinelli had 22 points each, and they were favored by 14 points in Sacramento. I've never seen a team being that heavy favorites on the road. Sacramento and Oakland are quite close to each other, so it's not really that much of a disadvantage. But to me, because Curry, even if he's not playing good, his team is so stacked with the surgence of Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, all of them.
Klay Thompson's still here. Yeah, Iggy's still here. Their bench is deep.
Yeah, and then if he does play, this is really pedestrian for him, 2 for 10 from three-point range. If he just does his typical average, they destroy teams. Their winning margins right now are, they win games by at least 20 points. That's unheard of.
Yeah, but then they still have big marquee matchups. We're talking about losing only 10 games for the season, though. They still have to play the Spurs multiple times, OKC multiple times.
They do.
They still have to play the Rockets. They got the Clippers. All of that's at least, because they're in the West, they're going to see each other a lot.
Yeah.
And only losing 10 games, night in, night out, I don't see it happening.
And one more thing, I'm going to take it a step further, though, for just because. not only do I think they can beat this record like easily, I think they can go the entire season without losing at home. I think they can easily, because last year they were 39-2 at home. This year, I truly think they can go 42-0 or 41-0 at home.
They're near unbeatable at home.
Yeah,
and they have the biggest home court advantage I've seen in a long time.
When they're at home,
arena
their
is
favorites.
Nuts. There's a certain type of energy.
Yeah.
In Oracle Arena that's unmatched in any other home court at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And if they win most of their home games, which I'm saying right now, guys, if they win 42-0 or 41-0 at home, like I'm calling it right now, and if they do that, I don't think they're gonna lose 10 games on the road. So for this question, I think they will beat Chicago Bulls 72-10.
It's way too early for me to start believing in that hype. So call me a doubter, call me a hater. I just don't buy it.
Okay, yeah, of course you are entitled to your opinion. That's what WBR is all about, though.
Opinions.
It is. So we'll get on to the next team here. Is the New Orleans Pelicans. We're gonna kind of go to the bottom of the conference.
The absolute bottom.
The absolute bottom. They're 0-6, which a lot of people did not think would happen. Anthony Davis, he kind of played pretty bad at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he had that 43-point game, but it was in a loss to Atlanta. So the question is Anthony Davis good enough to turn their season around?
To make it into the playoffs? That is tough, but they've dug themselves in a huge hole right now, starting off 0-6. If they were the Eastern team, Anthony Davis' talent is more than enough to get them into the 8th seed, 7th seed. But we're talking about the West here, the wild, wild West.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where there's shootouts every night. Yeah. I don't think they can make the playoffs at this pace. Everybody was talking about how Anthony Davis has arrived. He's the franchise player. And then he got his big contract, and then he's been, underperforming for all the hype, I would say. He's shown that he's still capable with huge games, but his team is not good enough, and they're all injury stricken. He's got such a heavy load, night in, night out. I don't see them making the playoffs at this rate, especially the way they're playing. They don't show signs of, anybody else stepping up. They were saying, Ryan Anderson and him were gonna make a crazy duo. Drew Holiday is coming back, but I don't see anything when I watch these guys play, and I don't see a sense of urgency that even though it's early in the season, but they need to pick up some wins.
I'm gonna have to completely agree on this. Before the season started, we had our predictions video, and I was saying New Orleans Pelicans are not gonna be as good as everybody thinks they are. Starting with Anthony Davis, I don't think he's as good as everybody says right now. Like I think he has the potential and the talent, but he hasn't emerge as that type of player yet. So to me, he's not good enough yet to turn their season around and get into the playoffs. If they were 3-3 or 2-4, that's a little bit of a different story. But even 2-4, I don't think, especially with the 0-6, they will not get into the playoffs. And the thing that's alarming for me watching Anthony Davis, I actually take a look at the stats. He has really low assists. And that's kind of startling to me.
Yeah, but who is he going to pass to?
It doesn't matter. If we have a player that can take them to the playoffs easily, like a Westbrook or LeBron can type of thing, their assist numbers are going to be up, even with bad players. A bad player in the NBA is still an NBA caliber talent. They're still going to be able to score. When he has 43 points, he doesn't have a lot of assists. He'll get like 3 or 4 at most. But when you see Harden dropping huge points or has big games, he'll easily get over 10 assists, and that helps out everybody. Harden doesn't have too many people to pass to. So
what you're saying is if you switched Anthony Davis with James Harden or LeBron James, they would not be 0-6 right now,
100%.
And they would be on pace to go, to make a playoff berth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like if it was LeBron, like they could easily be 6-0. Like they did versus Golden State. I'll say if they had LeBron, they'd be 5-1. As for Harden, I think he would have won them a couple of these games. Having 43 points and no assists is just not good enough in this modern day NBA. Anyone can score 43 points. Honestly, anyone can who's in the top 20. But you need to get those assists up. People think it's overrated, but it's not.
So I think what you're trying to say is Anthony Davis' talent level, his pure talent and superstardom is at that level right now, but he needs to figure out how to be a leader. He needs because he averages crazy numbers, but he needs to pull out victories.
Yeah.
He needs to make his teammates better. Everyone around him needs to trust him, and no matter how ugly it is, they need to fight. Scratch, claw, and then just get wins, right? Because this is the West.
That's exactly
every single win matters here.
The thing is that I took a look at Sacramento, James Harden had 43 points, right? But he had 13 assists. Harden could have easily had 60 points that game, like easily, if he had 2 or 3 assists or less, right?
But
they probably would have lost the game.
But is it a matter of his position though?
No.
Because he's the number 1, 2, and 3 offensive option, and then he's banging with the big guys. It's harder to get assists than say like a Steph Curry who averages a ton of assists, or Westbrooks, because they're the point guards. They dominate the ball. They dictate where it goes, so they're gonna have a more inflated stat line in terms of the assists, right? Because you see he does things on the other stat sheets, like the blocks. Altered shots aren't on the stat sheet, but he gets a ton of those. He's a defensive monster. Obviously, he's great on offense. The mid range is everything. But is it a matter of the position, or is it just
I don't think so.
Being more of a leader and being more of a man to own his team to get wins at the end of the game, at the end of the day.
In terms of his leadership and his position, I think, to be honest, the most important thing is his basketball IQ and just his intelligence as a whole. When you play in the league a little bit longer, you know what it takes to win. If you have just pure scores, and they're the focal point of the offense, you notice, like, historically, they don't go that far just by themselves. What happens is, when you have elite players, they need to make everybody around them better, and it starts with knowing that. I don't think he realizes how important it is to get his teammates involved and get them confidence. When he's going up, he'll go to the other side and he'll score some points. Yeah, it's like it numbs the pain if you're down a certain lead, but when we're talking about winning a lot of games, especially in the West, you need to be able to just not only put up points, but make it known that every player on the team is a threat. Like Marcus Gasol, I like him. He's a big guy. He goes inside, but he makes the right passes all the time. Anthony Davis looks for the shot too many times for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's Anthony Davis.
That's the Pelicans in a nutshell, right?
That's the Pelicans in a nutshell. Seriously, yeah, they don't have that much talent, but he's got to figure out a way. It starts with the IQ for me. But now we'll get to the Eastern Conference. We'll go with the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. They've been winning a lot of games, actually. They lost their very first game against Chicago, which could have easily went the other way, until Pau Gasol blocked LeBron. That was pretty huge.
Yeah.
But they won the rest of their games, and now they're at the top of the conference with Atlanta. Kevin Love, he's emerging as a really, really good player. Everybody thinks he's overrated.
I still think he's overrated.
Yeah.
Well, the money he's getting to be a spot-up shooter, spot-up three-point shooter. He's getting way too much money.
Yeah, I do think he's overrated still, but not as much as maybe everybody thought he used to be. 22 and 19 his last game. He's been doing pretty good. But LeBron, he's been on a tear as well lately. He had 29 points the other game. Before that, he had 31 and 13 assists. And then he had 23 points against New York in the sleeve game.
Game.
Yeah, I love how people are calling it that.
Okay, can I just point out how big of a drama queen LeBron is?
Okay.
The sleeve game. But he's such a drama queen. He pulls out the sleeves. Okay, if anybody else in the NBA did that, how big a fine did they receive from the NBA the next day? Come on, $15K minimum.
Yeah.
Only LeBron can do that and not get fined. Then the next day he posts on Instagram, he's practicing his free throws outside in some park. It's like showing everybody, I work on my weakness and stuff.
This is LeBron.
It's because there's no headlines about him in the East, because the East is so quiet. So he's just trying to stir up, to get the limelight, because he's jealous. No. He's jealous of Curry.
The number one
sales. He wants to be the number one guy. He wants everybody to talk about him. So he rips his sleeves off so he can get some attention. Posts on Instagram because everybody harps on his free throws. Sure they've been on what was it, a six game winning streak ever since they lost to Chicago. But who have they been playing? They played Philadelphia 76ers twice. They played the Knicks. They played the Knicks once. The best team they played was probably Memphis, and they haven't been looking good. And they had a scare in Indiana today.
Yeah, wow. That was big, but no, like this is LeBron James we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not talking about some random like no-name guy. This is LeBron James. He's the face of the NBA for the last 10 years.
Yeah, and
he can get away with doing this type of thing.
Yeah, but he's losing his his title as the face of the NBA because it's shifting.
Yeah, but that's only because Golden State's team is rigged. Everybody knows
he doesn't like that, so he's doing all these little antics to try to get noticed.
No, here's the thing. Most people in the NBA who wore those sleeves, everybody's has to wear them once in a while, and everybody complains about it. LeBron's the leader of the NBA.
Yeah, but why does he rip it now? He played the whole last season with all those sleeves.
Because he was missing shots. He was missing shots, so he's just like, he's wanting an excuse. This is LeBron James. He can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. He runs the league. He's not gonna get fined. That's the thing. He's the Tom Brady, except if they actually tried to get Tom Brady. You saw what happened. NBA is not gonna afford to do that. This is LeBron we're talking about. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but what does that say about the sleeve jerseys? Nobody. Okay, if I was a fan, an uneducated fan, and I saw the face of the NBA tearing up the sleeves of NBA jersey, I'm not gonna buy a sleeve jersey.
Yeah, of course.
If it's any other superstar, they get fined for that, right?
Fans shouldn't buy the sleeve jersey. They're awful. They look
the
terrible.
Whole point of the NBA, they making these sleeve jerseys. They want jerseys to be more accessible. You can wear more every day, regardless if they're terrible or not. Then you have LeBron slandering the product via ripping them. It's a terrible. He doesn't do anything about it.
It's a terrible business plan from the get-go, though. The NBA should have never made these sleeve shirts. I'm not gonna buy one. Nobody likes them. Everybody thinks they look terrible. They should have just stuck with their classic jerseys. They never make the sleeved ones. Like, come on, how much money does the NBA want? Like, every game they're wearing all these vintage limited edition, like
Christmas version.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Nickname jerseys.
It's like they're trying to make so much money. Whoever thought of the idea of putting the sleeves on the shirt, it's just terrible. Like, if you're watching this, like, I hope you don't think of any other ideas for the NBA.
The other ideas is they're gonna put ads on the jerseys, like MLS soccer.
If you add
championships.
If you add one tiny ad on the jersey, this is a whole other topic. It increases the revenue of the NBA like in the hundreds of millions over 10 years.
One ad, then another ad.
Yeah.
Then next it's not even gonna say NBA anymore. It's gonna be whatever Sprite.
Well, if that's
where do you draw the line?
If that's gonna make for better arenas, better venues, everything, I'm all for it. Put a couple advertisements on there. You watch MLS right now, or like soccer, whatever like people call it nowadays, football in Europe. You there's some logos on there, but it's not overwhelming. Just a few. It's not like NASCAR. The whole car's not gonna get completely loaded.
Who knows, man?
Yeah, maybe
it could be.
Well, the NBA
company,
the NBA wants that type of money. Like if they're gonna put sleeves on shirts, well, yeah, why not put a logo? I'd rather have a logo than a sleeve. If I was out representing like Sprite, I don't care as long as there's no sleeve on my shirt.
Then what? So LeBron's gonna start playing games. He's not gonna like these. Yeah. He's not gonna like these ads. He's gonna start ripping it off mid game. He's a drama queen, man.
LeBron. I'm gonna compare him right now. I'm gonna compare him. This one might get a lot of heat. He's like the Justin Bieber. Everybody is jealous of Justin Bieber, so they just hate on him. He's the one who's making all the money. He's the headlines. And people they're just jealous of him. I'm telling you. Justin Bieber makes pretty good music. I'm just saying.
Hey, I mean, you can't justify the Instagram photo after, man. He's just looking for attention. He's a drama queen.
Well, he is the face of the NBA. I think he can get away with that.
He's strive for greatness. We out here practicing things.
He's a role model. He's got to do that.
No, but right after the sleeve game.
Yeah, but think about it.
Coincidence? I don't know, man.
No, but think about it. Like, he's ripping off his sleeves. What type of message is he sending to his fans? So don't stand up for this this stupidity and like all this economics, man.
I don't know, man.
The whole point of the sleeves is economics. He's ripping it off. He's going like, no, man. Think about the message he's sending. I think it's a positive message.
Are you listening to yourself, man? You're delusional.
No, I'm telling you, LeBron, keep doing what you're doing. I ripped my sleeve off right after I saw that, live on the TV.
Hashtag save the sleeves, guys.
Like, come on, this is insane. But back to their actual numbers, they are winning games. They're not getting a lot of attention right now, besides for the sleeve, just because they're not playing that many good players or teams. This is the Eastern Conference. Atlanta is also winning games, so is the Toronto Raptors. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, what can I say? They're gonna win the West, or the East.
They're in prime position to win the East.
Yeah, but maybe Atlanta has has something to say about that. Who knows?
They have something to say about that in the regular season.
In the regular season.
And then we'll see what happens in the playoffs, right?
Losing to Amari Carroll was big, though. I don't think if they meet up in the finals.
Look at the work he's doing in Toronto. Yeah. He's really elevated that Toronto team.
Mm-hmm.
But, speaking of Toronto, can we please get Jonas Valanciunas more touches?
But hey, he's been playing really well lately.
Yeah.
He's been, wow.
And I feel like he's not getting rewarded enough for
Yeah.
the work he does on the defensive end. Then you have, you still have Kyle Lowry, thin Lowry, still jacking up the shots when, Jonas did all the work on the defensive end, got the board, started the break. He runs down the floor, doesn't get rewarded.
Yep. That's just how it is. That's the problems with Toronto right now. But Jonas Valanciunas is playing really well. Hopefully he gets...
And I love the emergence of DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
In terms of, taking it to the next level. He wants to be the guy who takes the last shot. He did a number on OKC.
He did. Oh, man, that was a huge win.
Oh, yeah.
A huge win for, all of Canada, I'll tell you.
Yeah. The only problem he has is, he likes to fade too much, even when his defender is shorter than him. He's like, well, I'm in this mid-range, might as well fade away.
Yeah.
The guy's, 4 inches shorter than you. Just shoot it.
Yeah, but fading away looks cool, though. So, I'm all for that.
It's
right?
true. He is from Compton. He's got to keep that style point up.
Oh, yeah. So, that pretty much wraps it up for today. This was our last week's recap. But, if big things happen, someone drops 40, 50.
We're going to be there.
Yeah, we're going to be there. We're going to probably make a podcast immediately after that. So stay tuned. We have lots more to come. And there's probably a lot more drama to happen in the NBA. So
tons of drama, guys. Remember, #SaveTheSleeves. WBR, guys.
LeBron James is going to win the NBA title this year.